Hello everyone and welcome to my old school RuneScape in-depth herb guide. This guide was suggested by this man right here, but since farming is a skill in which many aspects are involved with it, I've decided to make two different guides for farming in total. This is why today we will be looking at the most efficient, fastest ways to do your herb runs, as well as how to get the most herbs out of your runs, while later making another guide focusing more on XP and trees and other things like that. All right, guys. Now, before we get too much into the guide and I go over the best ways to do things, I first of all want to go over some useful items that I highly recommend for farming, especially during your herb runs. The first thing I highly recommend, most of you might know about this, but some of you might not, is the magical secateurs. The magical secateurs are acquired during the Fairy Tale Part 1 quest and have a 10% plus yield to any herb patch that you have. So obviously anything that increases the yield is good because that means you're getting more money and more XP. So that is highly recommended. Another thing that I like to have is the Ardougne Cloak 2 or higher. Now, the Ardougne Cloak 2 by itself, which was what I have at the moment, same with the Ardougne Cloak 3, that is going to allow you to teleport to the Ardougne patch once a day. So, pick a time during the day, and it's just going to make that one herb run that you do a little bit nicer, and you don't have to run, and do like the slower methods that part of the day. If you have the Ardougne Cloak 4, you probably already know this, but it will teleport you to the Ardougne patch unlimited times per day. So if you do have the requirements to do the RD diaries, I highly recommend doing that just so you can go ahead and get that free teleport there pretty much all the time. Now, the next thing is the Explorer's Ring, which has a little bit more freedom than the RD Cloak. As long as you have at least the Explorer's Ring 2, that will allow you to teleport to the Cabbage Patch. I think it's 3 times a day. So that's going to allow you to get to that not RD, the Falador herb patch a little bit faster. And some of you might not even do more than 3 herb runs a day. So I highly recommend getting at least the Explorer's Ring 2. But if you want to put in some extra effort to get the Explorer's Ring 3, that's going to allow you to teleport there unlimited times. So you don't have to do the Elite Diary like the Ardougne Diary, but you get the same benefits. In addition to that, I highly recommend you have the Xerix Talisman. The reason we do this is because if you have the Host Sidious favorite done, you unlock another herb patch in Host Sidious's Glade, or Xerix Glade rather, which you're going to use the second teleport option on the Xerix Talisman. It's going to take you right to it. And when you run east a little bit, it's going to be right there. Getting to that patch and using the Xerix Talisman is the fastest way to get to that patch. So I highly recommend having that. If you don't know how to get a Xerix Talisman, you basically have to have Shazy in favor. I'm not going to go into how you get it, but look into doing that. And other than that, Trollheim tabs too. The reason we want Trollheim tabs is it's the best way to get to the herb patch in Trollheim. That way you can save your inventory slots. You don't have to use runes. You can just use the tab and you can go straight to it. However, to use this patch, you must keep in mind that you have to have the My Arms Big Adventure quest completed. So keep that in mind. But as far as items, this is all the ones that I recommend. Do upgrades where you can. If you got the Artie Cloak 4, awesome. If you have the Artie Cloak 2 or 3, it's not a big deal. Plus, you still get that one teleport per day. Alright guys, now before I show you how I do my herb runs and my favorite way to do them and the most efficient way to get to each of the patches, I want to go over some little things that you don't really necessarily need to know, but it's nice to know. So first of all, our herbs take 80 minutes to grow. This is good to take in mind, so if you need to plan when to do another farm run during the day, you can plan that out. In addition to that, herbs require 1 seed per patch. If you're not used to planting herbs, allotments will take 3, and some other patches might have a different seed count that you need, but herbs only need 1 per patch. There are also 7 herb patches in the game. I went over these a little bit in the last clip, but you have an herb patch south of Falador, and this is where we use the Explorer's Ring. You have a patch west of Port Phasmatis, which we use the Ecta file for. I'll go into more of this later, but we're going right now the best way to do these things. You have a patch north of Catherby, which is where we're at right now. We have a patch northeast of East Ardougne, which is what we used our cape for. We also had the Trollheim patch, which requires My Arms Big Adventure. We have our Host Sidious patch, which requires not requires, but is highly recommended to have the Xerix Talisman. That'll let you teleport to the Glade. And finally, the one that most of us won't have is the Harmony Island patch, because this requires the Elite Mortania Diaries. We'll go over more of this later, but I wanted to go ahead and tell you all the patches so you can kind of get that in your head first before we go into them. So let's continue on. Alright guys, so from this point forward, I'm just going to take you through how I do my herb runs and basically just show you the most efficient ways. And if you all don't have the most efficient ways, we'll do the second most efficient ways and then the third most efficient ways. They won't make a big difference in time, but if you're having the best teleport option or transportation method to get these patches, it's just going to make it a lot easier, and it's going to make it a lot easier for you to do your herb runs, and it's going to be a lot more tolerable. So first of all, I always start off at the Catherby patch. Now, the absolute best way to get here is to be on the Lunar Spellbook and use the Catherby teleport. Requires 87 magic, but it's definitely worth it. You get a bit closer to the Catherby patch, and it's going to get you here a lot faster. Now, this one actually isn't huge difference, but if you don't have the Catherby teleport, which I'm assuming some of you not, some of us don't have that high of a magic level, you can just use the Camelot teleport, which is going to put you a bit west, sorry. It's going to put you a bit west right here, so you'll have to walk a bit southeast, but that's not big of a difference. So once you got that done, we now are going to move on to the Arty patch. It won't make any difference in any of these herb patches you choose, but I'm just going to take you in the route that I do it, and you can use those transportation methods for yourself. Now, following the Catherby patch, I usually go to my Ardone patch next. Now, the absolute best way to do there is to use the cape like I recommended before. So if we use that teleport, you'll get this little nice animation here, and it's going to put you straight at the Arty patch right here. It's very nice. However, I'm going to assume most of us, like myself, don't have that Arty cape 4, so we cannot use this unlimited times per day. But like I said, if you have the cape 2 or 3, you can at least teleport here once a day. Now, the second best way to get here is to use the Skills Necklace teleport. What you do with the Skills Necklace is you want to teleport to the Fishing Guild, which if you'll see this right here, we go back into the world map, it's going to put you pretty close to that patch. The herb patch we want to go to is right here. So once you teleport to the Fishing Guild, you're going to want a bit east and a bit south. If you don't want to use the Skills Necklace, the thing that I used to do all the time is just to teleport to Ardone, which is going to put you right here. This is going to require 51 magic. Then you're just going to walk east out of the city and walk a bit northwest. It's a bit longer than the Skills Necklace teleport, but it's not that bad at the same time. So that is the best way to get to the Ardone patch. Alright, so following the Ardone patch, the next patch that I usually do is the patch south of Falador. Now, like I said before, the recommended item for this is the Explorer's Rings. But basically, the third one is going to allow you to teleport unlimited times a day. We like I said, but the Explorer's Ring 2 is not that bad to get, and it will allow you to teleport 3 times a day to that patch. So you get a lot more freedom than you do with the Ardone Cape. So if you teleport here, it's going to put you straight in the cabbage field, and the patch that you need to go to is right in our map, right north of us, and that herb patch is going to be right there. Now, the second best way to get here is going to be to teleport to Draenor Village with your Amulet of Glory. This is what I used to do all the time, and especially most Ironmen, before you have your Explorer's Ring 3, are going to do it this way. Basically, going to teleport right here, right a little bit east of the market, and you're just going to walk northwest to get there. Another way I guess you could do this is teleport to Falador and walk. This is going to be a bit longer, but if you cut through here and cut through kind of like where these yew trees are, it's not too bad to do that either. Other than that, if you have a house portal in Remington, I guess you could walk northeast. But those are the best methods. I kind of listed those kind of like best to worst, so use whichever one fits you best. Now, this next one has about 3 methods to get there. The one that I'm going to do next is the Ectofuntus patch, and using the Ectofile is the absolute fastest way to get here. It's going to put you just a bit east of the patch, and we're going to run west to get there. However, if you haven't had the Ghost Ahoy quest completed to have the Ectofile, the second fastest way to get to this patch is to use the Fairy Ring in the code ALQ. It's going to put you right about here in the Haunted Woods, and the patch that we need to go to is just a bit north. So it's actually pretty quick, and it's not a decent amount of time difference anyway. So that's going to get you there pretty quickly. If you don't have Fairy Rings unlocked or Ectofile for whatever reason, you can also just teleport to Canifis, which I'm assuming if you have Desert Treasure completed and you can teleport to Canifis, then you'll probably have these methods too. But I figured I'd throw it in there just in case. Alright, now this is going to be where our Trollheim teleports come in handy. If you have the tab, just go ahead and click it like so, and it's going to take you straight to the same thing. Using runes is going to teleport you to the exact same location. It's just going to save you some inventory space using the tabs. Once you get to this location here, you're going to want to take the shortcuts down the hill to your west, and we're going to go in the Troll Stronghold located here. Once you make your way up here, you're going to go into a little cave right here, which I'll show you now, and I'll also show you a nice little agility shortcut here if you have the Fremnic Hard Diaries completed. Alright, welcome back. So we have arrived at right outside the Troll Stronghold west of Trollheim, and this is actually the agility shortcut that some of you might have seen. Now, for those of you that have never seen this before, or you have seen it, you just don't know what it's for, you unlock this shortcut by doing the Fremnic Hard Diaries. However, a decently high agility level is also required. You need 73 agility to be able to do this, but it's highly recommended because you can skip this entire cave part right here. Normally you have to walk through the cave right here, and you'll see a ladder right here on my mini-map to the southwest. So normally that's what you have to do. It's going to add some longevity to your farm runs, so I highly recommend if you can to get the Fremnic Hard Diaries done, just to do this, because you can climb straight up here and get straight to your farm patch a lot faster. It's going to alleviate a lot of time, and it's going to make your farm runs a bit faster, and I highly recommend it if you can. All right, following the Trollheim patch, the next one following that is going to be the Hostadius patch, like I mentioned before. Now, the best way to get here is obviously the Xerix Talisman. Not obviously, but for those of you that do know, it is the fastest way to get here. Teleporting to the Xerix Glade, the second option on the Xerix Talisman, it's going to put you right here where I am on my minimap right now, and you're just going to have to walk a bit southeast to get to the patch. However, I do understand that some of you are not going to have this, so there is an alternative method. Although I don't recommend it because there's better houses like, well, it depends on what you need, I guess, but there are better house locations in my opinion. But you can also put your house location right here. This is going to be your house location in Great Corrend, and when you teleport to your house and exit, it's going to be just a bit west of where the Xerix Talisman would put you. So just it's a little bit more of a walk, but it's still a pretty quick way to get here. Now, after walking a bit east and getting to this patch, there has come time to get to the final patch, which most of us are not going to have, and that is the Harmony Island patch. Like I said before, this patch requires the completion of the Mauritania Elite Diaries, making for some pretty high requirements, mainly the one being 91 fishing. But I'm not going to go into the diaries right now. I'm just going to go ahead and show you where it is. So if you do have that location done, this is how to get there and the best ways to get there. Now, the absolute best way to get to the Harmony Island herb patch is to use the Harmony Island teleport. Now, this teleport can be found on the Arceus spellbook, and it requires level 65 magic to use. However, like I said, most of us aren't going to have this patch unlocked, but if you don't have that Harmony Island teleport to get here, you can also use the Ectofile, and I'll show you how to do that right now. Alright, so once the Ectofile takes you to the Ectofuntus, you're going to head south right into the Port Phasmatis, and then you're going to head east along the docks and go to the very eastern part of here, which you're going to go, and this is going to take you to Mossly Harmless. Upon arriving to Mossly Harmless, you're then going to talk to Brother Tranquility, which he can use the transport option, and he's going to teleport you to Harmony Island. And at this point, it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'll show you on the map anyway. Once you get to Harmony Island, the herb patch is just northeast of us right here, and that is the last possible patch in Old School RuneScape that we can use. Alright guys, two very quick things before I end the guide that I forgot to mention, and one of those is the Tool Leprechaun. The Tool Leprechaun you can find next to any patch you find, any herb patch there will be a Tool Leprechaun. And for those of you that don't know, you can use the Tool Leprechaun to essentially note the herbs that you have in your inventory. Basically anything that you can harvest you can use on your Tool Leprechaun, and they will make into a noted form, so you don't have to visit a bank each and every time you finish an herb patch, that is. In addition to that, I want to discuss why it's important to use the Super Compost or Fertile Soil spell. And that is because not only does Super Compost increase the chances of your herb surviving, or Fertile Soil, both of those have the same effect. And in addition to that, you also get a higher yield from using those things. So, for example, if I was to use Super Compost and Fertile Soil, or Fertile Soil, sorry, on an herb patch before I plant the seed, that's essentially going to make it to where if my herb survives, I have a minimum of 5 herbs that I can get from that patch. And if I don't get 5 herbs, a lot of the times you'll get more than that. And I think you average about 6.5. Yes, you do average 6.5 herbs per patch using Super Compost. So keep that in mind when you do your herb runs so you get the most XP and most herbs out of the patches that you can. And guys, with that, I'm going to end my herb guide here. I tried to make this guide as short as possible, also still trying to keep it that in-depth kind of aspect to it, so I apologize if the guide was a little lengthy for your liking. But anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope this guide helped you out. This guide did take a while to put together, so if you don't mind taking a second of your day to like the video, that would be so much appreciated. And guys, thank you again for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care!